In this tutorial, we're going to learn how to use the front and the back posts. Here in this example that you see here is the ripple stitch, and the ripple is done on the front post only because of the way that the pattern is. But we need to understand what is causing the ripples to actually cause it to be 3D, because basically it's the same stitching lines, it's just where you're grabbing it. Normally when you go crochet, basically the lines are grabbing on top of each other, so they're stacking like a Tetris game. But now what's happening is, well, when you go to use the posts, instead of grabbing the stitch on the very top, we're actually grabbing a portion of the way down, causing the top of that actual stitch row to bend over. And then basically when you go to do that, it causes it to keep bending over. So when you look at crochet, you get a nice flat look to it, but as soon as you start doing the front or the back post, the material, what's happening now, is coming up and then it's bending in towards you, just like so. So it actually can be quite a yarn pig. It actually makes things a lot more thicker, it makes it more solid. So in this particular example, because it's all bending over toward me at the same time, that means that on one side that I was front posting and on the other side I was back posting, because when I turn it around it's completely flat. So if I was doing back posts for every line, then what's going to happen is that you'll have a ridge on this side, you'll have a nice flat gap, and then you'll have a ridge again. Where in this one it's ridge, 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 ridge. So let's get started on using the back and the front posts. First of all, what we need to consider is that when we're using the front and the back post, just like you see in example, what's happened now is that the total height of the row would actually be shorter because it's bending over. So it's using the partial of that row bending over towards you. So in actual fact, if you were doing a whole row, so we're going to do front post, we actually can't, and we're going to double crochet, we can't actually chain up 3 because then the actual side piece will be too big. So what we only want to do is chain up 2, so 1 and 2. And that's because where we're going to grab the stitch, and then the next one here is going to be much lower, so if you had 3 then it's going to pull down. So let's start off with the front post. So what we're going to do is double crochet. So we're going to grab our material, and normally we would just go into the very first top stitch, but in actual fact we're going to go around the post, and this is called the front post. These are the posts that are in between each one of the stitches. They're the actual like tower that is joining each one of the rows. So we're just going to wrap our material around for double crochet, and we're going to go in one side of the post and then pop it back out the other side. That is called the front post. So when we go to grab our material and pull it through, it's actually automatically going to bend the material away from you. So that's 2, 2. So let's double crochet. So let's do that again. So just wrapping the material, going in, so just pop it in one side, click it out the other, grab it. So let's do that again. So just in one side, pop it out the other, in. So what's happened now is on the other side here, you're now causing a ridge to start forming because you're bending the material because of where you're grabbing it. So in order to cause all of that ridge to happen, you just got to keep working on the front post. Now it seems awkward when you first start working with post work, but it actually, through the feel of your hands and through just technique, you can actually just crochet just as fast using the post work. You should be aware this is a bit of a yarn pig. Because you are grabbing this far down and not up there, it makes your material grow lengthwise a lot less, almost by half, almost by 3/4 to half. It all depends what yarn and hook you're working with. So you want to be very conscious that whatever you're doing with this is that it's going to be working through properly. So we're going to get to the very end, and what you're going to need to do is then when you go to do your final chain, so let's speed up the video so I have time. So I'll catch it right at the end. We're about to go into our very last stitch, and the last one here is the chaining up of the 3, right? So what's going to happen now is that we cannot, or chaining up of the 2 depending on where you are in your project, you cannot do any front post work with that. So what you want to just do is just wrap your material pretending like you're going to double crochet, going in, just go into the chain as normal. So don't go into the gap area, like right in between, go right into the chain itself, pull through, and then half double crochet, and that half double crochet then would equal the height of the rest of the line because you're not grabbing it that far down. You see, you grabbed it way up there and not down there.